I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. It's time to talk about Mage. And wow, did Mage get some interesting stuff this time around. It was hard to decide what was best for Mage, not because they had anything that was bad. And it was hard to try to find out what was good. It was almost hard to just find out what was the best of the stuff they got. So some of these cards, when I'm going to give them low on the score, because I heard the lowest of what Mage had. First card up for us is actually a bad card though. We're using 0 as our low, 1 as our high, or 10 as our low, 1 as our high. These are my opinions. But the first one up for us is Arcane Defenders. Arcane Defenders is an 8-mana arcane spell that says summon 2 5/6 golems with taunt. They can't be the target of spells or abilities. Turn 8, just summoning out 2 5/6s isn't the best thing to do. I mean, it's not what you want to be doing on 8. 8 is the turn when you want to be, doing the wins. You want to be doing, pop-off turns. Getting 2 5/6s with taunt isn't a turn 8 turn for Mage. This is defensive. This is not an aggressive card. This is defensive all the way. The fact that they can't be targeted by spells or abilities, while nice, means nothing, because on turn 9, people are, if they're wiping boards with AoE stuff, or they're just trading in their creatures and not caring that they've got to walk over a 5/6. Next up for us is number 9. And even when we get into number 9, this card isn't like the worst card in the world. This is the number 9 for what they have. Mage got some ridiculously good stuff. So number 9 for them is the Energy Shaper. Energy Shaper is a 4-mana 3/5 that says Battle Cry, transform all spells in your hand into ones that cost 2 more to keep their original spell. You're basically doing what Warlock did back in the day with their deck of Lunacy. You're trying to find spells that have very niche or small things that they can trade into that are higher than them by 2, and then you can play on lower mana costs. The problem is that as we're getting closer to the end of the expansion, this card is harder to use because there's more cards that it can pick from, and there are some duds and a lot of weird numbers that you wouldn't think are there. For example, let's just go to Mage for a second. One of the cards that they have would be Frozen Touch for 2. Now, there's some good stuff on 4, like you can get Arcane Brilliance, the Arcane Brilliance that you want on 4. You can get a Fireball, so, there's chances that you can get a Fireball, or you can get an Arcane Brilliance. Fireball good, Arcane Brilliance not so good. So, when the set rotates, this card becomes a lot more powerful, but for right now, the set is so high that it's hard to get an answer that you want every single time. Next card up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is Vast Wisdom. Vast Wisdom is a 3-mana spell for Mage that says discover 2 spells that cost 3 or less and swap their costs. So basically you're looking to maybe get like an Arcane Intellect that you cast for a Fury. So, you know, you're not going to play, you don't care that your Furies cost 3 now going forward. You weren't going to cast it anyways. Or a Hot Streak. You know. But there are certain ones that you can get which aren't going to be the most helpful for you. I mean, basically you're always looking for the Arcane Intellect, or maybe the Build a Snowman, or maybe the Counterspell. That's where all your secrets come in. But there's going to be times where you get a Explosive Rune, and like a Counterspell, and a Oasis Ally. And yeah, you can flip-flop those too. I mean, but you made a 3 into a 3. The only thing that's nice about it is Discovery. It's 3 mana Discovery to spell. And adding 2 spells to your hand is never a bad thing for Mage. There's really not a bad option for spells for Mage. And even getting a 3 and a 3, you know, isn't the worst thing in the world, but you're always hoping to get a 3 for the one and like a 0 for the other and flip-flop them. And to say that this card is bad, it's not that this card is bad, it's just that's like one of the worst cards in Mage right now. Because as we go up, we're going to see that Mage got some really interesting stuff on this time on. Number 7 for us is going to be the Elemental. Prismatic Elemental is a 2 mana 1/3 Elemental. That says battle cry, discover a spell from any class, it costs 1 less. This can be Mage spells, this can be Hunter spells, this can be Death Knight spells, this can be Demon Hunter spells, this can be any class, including your own. The problem is because it can be any class, there are times where you're going to get a Discover pool where it's not going to help you. I mean, you're just not, like if you get some of the stuff for Death Knights right now, some of the stuff for Death Knights require you to have corpses, and because you don't have a corpse counter, none of that stuff will trigger. Or you can get stuff for, like Rogue, where you actually get stuff that's for weapon improvements, or stuff for Warrior that's weapon improvements. Because you're not a weapon class, that really doesn't help you. There's always going to be way bigger of a pool for this than a lot of other things, because they can go through all 11 classes now. So I think it's going to be real hard for you to ever find a spell that you're looking for, and that's why this one is so low on awesome. Next for us is number 6, which is the Arcane Bolt, which is kind of a weird 6th, and you'll see why in a few seconds here. So Arcane Bolt is a 1 mana arcane spell that deals 2 damage, and if you have 8 mana crystals, it deals 3 damage. So basic run-of-the-mill, 1 damage, deal 2, big whoop, who cares? And if that was the only card that we had for this, that would make it so little. The problem is this starts the whole arcane chain that we're going to be talking about. So the reason it's so low is because it by itself is not a lot, but it's also a lot of help for this arcane chain. So this is going to help with the next card on us, which is going to be number 5, which is going to be the Arc Splitter. Arc Splitter adds 2 arcane bolts to your hand. So again, 3 mana, 3/2. Surprised it's not a mech. Because this looks a lot like a mech. that is going to add 2 of those arcane bolts to your hand. So, I mean, by itself, River Crockless stats, but you're adding the arcane bolts to your hand, and again, the arcane bolts by themselves, so you'll be like, who cares? Well, the problem is as you keep going, you get even more stuff that's going to help out with this arcane spell. Like the Arcane Worm, which is a 1 mana 1/2 that has Battle Cry, add a arcane bolt to your hand. This is early game. This is going to help you out with early game. You can use this early game. You can slam this down late game to get the arcane bolt. 1 mana flux in to get that bolt back. This is almost worth a bolt by itself. So, I mean, yeah, you're still sitting there going, okay, we got all these bolts. But here's where it starts to pay off, is stuff like Grand Magister. Grand Magister is a 9 mana 5/6 that recasts each spell you cast this game that didn't start your deck. Well, all these arcane bolts that you're finding didn't start in your hand. So they get to recast again. Now, they can't hit your face because how Arcane Bolt works, it's not always an enemy, and they can go to minions at times, so it's kind of like running a weird version of like a Yaxaron. But that's a lot of, damage that's just coming out of nowhere on 9. And that's still only number 3. So I gotta be asking yourself, like, what's 2? And that's the other legendary that you have for Mage, which means all your arcane spells cast twice. It's a 5 mana 3/3 elemental that makes all your arcane spells cast twice. So all these arcane bolts, when you cast them, and they're not cast randomly, are doing 4 damage just on their own. And if you're at 8 mana, which you almost are at that point when you're at 5, they're doing 6. So each one of these is a fireball for 1 mana. So you're getting some ridiculous damage. You can go turn 5, drop the drop the elemental, drop the arcane worm, and you get a bolt into your hand, and then you can cast that bolt. And you're doing a fireball off of just out of nowhere. And that's if you have no other arcane bolts that you've collected in your hand up until this point. So what card could be better than this particular card? What card trumps this card? What card made the 1 slot? And that's the Magistrate's Apprentice. It's a 2 mana 3/2. Your arcane spells cost 1 less. It makes every single bolt cost 0. Plus there's other stuff that Mage runs in Arcane. You're talking shooting stars, you're talking sorcerer, you're talking siphon mana, you're talking counterspell, you're talking arcane intellect. And all of these are staple cards that Mage uses on a daily basis. Rune Orb. I mean, this card is going to see play. It's going to see play as long as it's in the set. It's going to help out the stuff that's in Arcane right now. It's going to help out any Arcane that comes in the future. Sorcerer's Apprentice is the basic card that this is based off of. Sorcerer's Apprentice just did not have the arcane word here, and it was used everywhere. putting the arcane tag on this doesn't make this card that much worse. So, Mage got some really, really heavy stuff. There's not a lot that I saw that was bad in Mage. It was hard for me to decide what the best card was in here. Not because there was no best card, but because I was trying to sit there and figure out if this was the number one slot or if this was the number one slot. And when you have that as an issue that you gotta figure out, it means that they did something powerful for Mage. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.